Hey everybody, I just wanted to do a really quick video about how I take and edit my Instagram photos. I get a lot of questions about my Instagram feed and how I take my photos and get such a stark white background, and I thought I would make this really quick video kind of showing some of my tips and tricks and sharing some of the knowledge that I've just learned over the years having an Etsy shop. For lighting, I like to use these umbrella lights. Most people will recommend using natural daylight, and while I do agree that that's best, not every situation is perfect for natural lighting, and you'll see that this helps illuminate my entire surface really well. I keep these kind of up at an angle that's almost directly above my work surface and kind of just angled downwards. I keep them really close together, and I do keep them on my desk. I do find that having them on my desk causes less shadows than having them on the floor. These particular lights can extend up to several feet, so they can be placed on the floor. It's just not the best angle for me personally, but I would always recommend doing whatever works best for you and kind of playing around with it. These lights were purchased on Amazon. They were relatively inexpensive, and I will make sure to link those down below for you. So the camera I use is this Nikon P900. It's just a standard point and shoot camera. I've had it for a really long time. It comes with just the standard non-removable lens, and I usually keep it on manual mode. I can go over settings if you're ever interested, but you can keep it on like an automatic setting, and that's really great. So this is all I use. I think as far as cameras go, it's relatively inexpensive, but I do also use my camera phone occasionally, but I have to say that probably 95% of my photos are taken with this. Alright, now that I have the lighting set up and my camera ready, I have my planner down on my surface. Now my desk has this acrylic coating on it, so you'll probably notice that they have these little glares here. That's not really a big deal. I don't worry about it. They're very easily edited out, and in this stage I like to kind of position my planner in a way that I like. I always go for this kind of slightly tilted look, and then I like to take things like stickers and place them around the image. I will also take, the pens and markers used in the spread. I try to keep these pointed up because I always get asked about the color information. So I always try to make sure that those are up and visible in the photo. And then from there, it's just adding little things like, sticky notes, binder clips, the washi tape that was used, maybe cute little felt clips or something like that. Something to make the spread look interesting and dynamic, and, kind of keep your eyes focused around the whole spread. Okay, so you'll see on my camera that I have my settings down at the bottom. I have this little histogram at the side that shows the brightness. It can be easily changed by just, toggling your settings. For me, I always like things a little overexposed. That's just my preference. And you'll notice as I'm pressing the button, it shows what's in focus. You want as much of it to be in focus as possible for when you take your photo. Normally you'll see that little yellow light and it's kind of showing you a preview of what's in focus. Sometimes you'll hit the capture button and it will just show that area, and I usually press it until I can get everything to show up. So that's kind of my tip for taking photos with this. Okay, so once I have everything imported, I will go through and click on my different images, kind of scroll through them to see which one I like best. It just so happens that I like this first one. It's very clear. You can see all of my writing. There's not really any sort of fuzziness or blurriness. The color, at least in the areas that I know I'm going to be keeping, are very even. I know up here is a little dark, but I'm not really going to worry about that in this photo because I know it's going to be cropped out. So what I'm going to do is open Affinity Photo. I can show you in Photoshop if any of you are interested in that. And now that it's up, I can see that it's a little dark, but we knew that going in. So what I'm going to do is go over to Adjustments and tap on exposure, and I'll see this one, it's one stop, which is usually a little too bright, but it's always nice to have kind of a starting point. And I will kind of toggle this to get to a level that I think seems kind of nice for my photo. And once that is at a point where I like it, I will usually go to curves, and I'll create the slightest S shape. This is to just darken the darks and lighten the lights. I don't want anything too dramatic, but I do kind of play with this and toggle it around just so that I can get something that's a little bit closer to what I see in real life when I'm, taking this photo. I want the colors to be accurate. I don't want them to be exaggerated. I don't want them to be overly saturated. I just want something really natural. I'm looking at this and it seems pretty nice. I'm just playing with my whites a little bit, and I really don't think I want them that exaggerated right now. But that all seems really great. I think right now I'm going to go over to my crop tool, and I always hit darken border because it doesn't do that automatically. And I'm just going to scale this down because I know that I'm going to want a square image for Instagram. And now I'm just kind of dragging it to where I want my photo to be. And I'm thinking that looks really great. Right now I'm just going to hit apply. And right now is the fun part. You can play with some levels. Like you can do the white level. I always find that with my photo, I have a pretty good white balance. I don't normally feel the need to edit it really in one direction, whether it's yellow or white. But you can see up here, I do have a little bit of discoloration, and it's actually a little bit of both, and that just has to do with the white background that I'm shooting on. So for me, I actually like to cheat, and I'll go over here to my layers panel, and I will add another layer, which is slightly out of the screen, but it's in between the folder and the garbage can that's all the way over. And then I'll go and I will select my paintbrush tool, and I will just toggle that to white. And then with the bracket keys, I will adjust the size that I need and just paint out that white. I wouldn't recommend this for backgrounds that have any sort of, texture to them. I would always recommend using the healing tool. But in this case, we're specifically working on a white background, and I really just want to keep that. I want it to be stark. I really want that to be kind of exaggerated. So for me, this is the easiest way to do it. And for people who, maybe edit photos for a living, they are probably cringing at this moment. But I find this to be the best way to really make sure that my focus is completely on the image that I'm taking a picture of. And this way, everything is clean, everything is bright, everything is exactly how I want it to look. From here, if I decide that I want it to be any more vibrant, the vibrance layer, or I guess the vibrance adjustment in here, really isn't all that great. You can see a little bit of brightening up, but it's nothing too extreme, and that I appreciate because I do find that I like to take this up a little bit, but with some apps it can be really in your face with how saturated it gets. It's so far from anything that looks natural. So I just kind of toggle that to where I like it. I tend to look at the pastel colors, and that's why I wanted to do this spread specifically. I know it's a bit of a throwback, but you can see it does have a lot of these pastel colors in it, and I really wanted those to pop, and I find that those are the hardest to edit. If you look over at these YouTube icons and the Facebook icons, those are so bright, those are so saturated, those are so easy to pick up. Same with down here with the pen and the marker that I used. They're such a dark black. They're not really hard to edit. It's the pastels that can be really difficult when you're trying to get a truly bright photo. So this I am pretty happy with. And from here, I'm just going to go to File, and I'm going to go to Export. and I usually stick with JPEG just because I can toggle the quality setting up here, and then I just hit export. And I usually want to send this right to the desktop, and I'm not even going to really rename it. I'm just going to make sure that it's not going to replace my other image just in case. And I just hit save, and that's it. And that is how I edit my Instagram photos and even some of my product photos. My product photos don't tend to need it that much. I don't white out the background, but those are the steps that I take in editing. So I hope that was really informative for you guys. Here's a quick look at the tools that were mentioned in the video just to help you guys out a little bit. I hope this helped. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below and I would be happy to help. And thanks for watching. Bye!